mission must be accomplished: the creation of the spacesuit. Throughout the history of EVA, NASA has sought to build the best spacesuit and tools to match the job required for the mission. For our suit engineers, this means designing, testing, and redesigning to get it right. During Gemini, our designers were faced with a tough challenge to create the very first U.S. spacesuits. Suits that would allow astronauts to work outside the spacecraft in low Earth orbit. Building on that experience, new suits were developed for the Apollo missions. This time, astronauts needed to walk on the moon while carrying their own life support on their backs. With planetary surface exploration as the objective, the suit had to bend and move to facilitate tool use and protect the human. During the shuttle years, NASA redefined what could be done with EVA suits and tools: retrieving broken satellites, rescuing and rebuilding the Hubble Space Telescope, and building the International Space Station. The same shuttle spacesuit is on the space station today. It allows us to maintain and repair our home in space. But what about future missions? What kind of a suit will we need? Will we be walking on a planetary surface? Floating in microgravity? Or both? NASA is already investigating the next generation of spacesuits, creating a variety of prototypes to prepare astronauts for the journeys ahead. The Z2 is one of those prototypes. Its sleek design looks different from any other spacesuit NASA previously built.
We were able to take some artistic license on this prototype spacesuit and have some fun with it and engage folks out around the country for what they would like to see in a spacesuit. We worked with Philadelphia University to do the initial layouts of the suit, and then we have some in-house fashion designers that also help build our spacesuits, and they were able to bring their experiences to it and evolve that cover layer to make it even better than what we started with.
The Z2 isn't just fashion forward on the outside. It's also technologically advanced on the inside. This is one suit made for walking, on other planets, that is.
To be a planetary spacesuit, some of the special features on the Z2 are boots specifically designed for walking and for keeping your foot integrated into the boot well, like a good hiking boot. It also has a lot of lower torso mobility that allows you to walk naturally so that you can go uphill, downhill, into craters, pick up a rock, as a geologist would want to do on a planetary surface.
Like any prototype, NASA hopes to learn a lot from the Z2 as it continues to improve and develop spacesuits.
Prototypes are really important for spacesuit development because you can only do so much in the modeling and analysis world. You really don't know how well the suit works until you integrate it with a person. You get the feedback that a person can give you. You have them walk around, you have them try different tasks. That's how we really know that we've done a good job designing a spacesuit.
Another suit in the works is the Prototype Exploration Suit, or PXS. This suit could be used for EVAs in microgravity, or it could be further modified for walking on planets. As with all future spacesuits, NASA is wanting to see better mobility, more visibility, and better control and communication.
So one of my main responsibilities on this spacesuit is the suit control assembly, and that's the box that sits right here on the front of the suit. And it allows the crew member to control their life support components, such as their cooling and their pressure, and it also controls a lot of the electronics, such as the radio and the volume, and they can see some of the data that's coming back and forth from the suit computer to that display. So one of the great things about this job is that after designing the box, I'm able to get into the suit, since it's one of the smaller sizes, and we can actually see what the limitations are with my own hands and eyes, and not just hear that secondhand from another test subject that would be looking at the same data. And then to take that back and then to go build the next prototype and incorporate the changes that need to be made so that it works better the next time.
Whether it's the PXS or the Z2, new NASA spacesuits have a big job to do.
And that's not just being in a vacuum, but it's very hot, it can be very cold. And then in addition to that, there are little micrometeoroids that are flying past that you have to protect in case it does hit the suit. So So there's a lot of things that go into protecting the crew member in addition to just being in a vacuum. And when we go farther to the moon or Mars, you have to protect in case you trip and fall. So there's a lot of protection that the suit has to take into account.
No matter where we go or what we do, spacesuits and EVA tasks will continue to change and evolve. To keep up, spacesuit engineers will use new technologies, new materials, and new ideas to help us on our way.
In the future, I'm looking forward to spacesuits that are much more of a tool for the astronaut, that is more integrated with the human, and is less of an encumbrance and more of a help.
I think of EVA as basically a ship of exploration, a ship of learning and understanding, both about what makes us individually human and about what makes us together a team that seeks to learn and understand what the truth around us is. And that search for knowledge, that search for truth is, I think, one of the most noble and meaningful endeavors that we can pursue together.
Six, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The Flight Opportunities Program facilitates the demonstration of technologies that will be used in space commerce as well as in space exploration. And we do that through utilizing suborbital flight providers that can test these technologies in suborbital space.
Capsule.
Go.
Booster.
Go.
Ground.
The mission of the NASA Flight Opportunities Program is to do risk reduction of new technologies by flying them on commercial flight platform. The way it works is that the principal investigator of a technology will go and pick a commercial flight vehicle such as balloon, where you can get long exposure to high altitude environment, low temperature, radiation. You can also use parabolic aircraft to get a few seconds of microgravity, or sounding rockets to get a few minutes of microgravity. You can also use vertical takeoff and landing vehicles on which you can test landers technology.
RSO, how do you read? RSO screen. Copy. Surveillance. Surveillance ready.
The work that we're doing under Flight Opportunities helps provide validation that yes, it can be done, and yes, this is the sort of thing that is worth these other companies investing their money in.
NASA is really excited to help advance the commercial spaceflight industry. The Flight Opportunities Program funds technology development flights on commercial vehicles. These flight investments not only stimulate the technical advancement, which can of course be used on commercial and NASA missions, but it also stimulates the flight provider industry, bringing more vehicles to the market in the future, which can be used for further research.
3, 2, arm.
Mission Control Human Spaceflight is made possible through the generous support of Alabama Bicentennial Commission, the Daniel Foundation of Alabama, Wells Fargo, the Malone Family Foundation, the Robert R. Meyer Foundation. Mission Control is a production of the IQ Learning Network, a division of Alabama Public Television.
You're looking good here. Roger.
Hi, I'm Dorian.
Carmen here.
This is Luke, standing by.
Here's Chandel.
And I'm Kaylee.
We're interrupting your regularly scheduled programming for a very important reason. As members of the STEM Brigade, our mission is clear. Learn science, earn badges, and help others to learn too along the way. Right now, we're working on earning our cadet rank in space exploration, and our squad has a very important mission.
To learn all about the history and the science behind human spaceflight.
And as we sprint through this learning marathon, we'll try and earn 6 different merit badges: the space race, rocket boosters, shuttle, life systems, future exploration, and space computer controls. We'll be reviewing the badges we earn throughout the program, so pay attention and follow along, and you too can be honorary virtual members of the STEM Brigade.
We're ready to blast off. Mission Control, do you copy?
Since the dawn of humankind, the stars have been there waiting for us. But for the majority of human existence, leaving Earth was nothing more than the desire of an overactive imagination. If only they'd known, the stars have always been reachable. They were just waiting on us to find the right path.
Last century, following the birth of the airplane, scientists like Robert H. Goddard, perhaps the first great rocket scientist, started getting close. Rocket technology advanced quickly, especially during the Second World War, when rocket technology was used, regrettably, as a new kind of weapon. But from the dust of that terrible war came something better: the space race.
The space race was between two of the most powerful countries to emerge from the rubble of World War II, the Soviet Union and the United States. The space race ultimately amounted to a series of one-ups, as the Soviets and the Americans raced to see who could accomplish what amazing feat first.
The Soviets struck first, putting the first satellite in space, the first human, the first spacewalk. But the Americans were right behind them, step for step, thanks to early space programs like Mercury, which, among its many accomplishments, sent American John Glenn orbiting around the world. The two powers were both on a chase for the same finish line: who would be the first to get to the moon?
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
On July 20th, 1969, the Americans did the impossible.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Neil Armstrong, along with Buzz Aldrin, became the first human beings to ever walk on the moon as part of the Apollo 11 mission. It was a day that changed the world. 2 men walked on the moon that day, but the support of thousands of men and women back on Earth put them there, and they all deserve credit for this landmark accomplishment of the human spirit. When astronauts say Houston into their radio, they're referring to Mission Control at Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas. Mission Control has been the center of communication between Earth and human spaceflight from the early days of Gemini and Apollo to communication with the International Space Station today. I'm joined today by legendary flight director Gene Kranz, who was flight director of the Apollo 11 mission that first landed on the moon, and Apollo 13, where an explosion on board the spacecraft put Mission Control to the ultimate test. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you very much for the opportunity.
What is the role of Mission Control?
Mission Control is the center where you pull all the people together, where you've got communications to the launch site, you've got communications to the tracking station. So it's basically the overall hub for communications. In addition to that, the controllers here are prepared to take any actions necessary for crew safety and mission success.
Could you tell me a little bit about your job as a flight director?
As flight director, I have the ultimate responsibility for performance of this room here. During the course of a mission, I am the final person to make decisions. There is no higher authority than me. And as mission time approaches, I look at the decisions I got to make and I see if I got a set of notes to fit that, and I write it down as sort of a timeline. Because the one thing I have to do in this room is to manage the clock. So it's up to me to know how to use every second that we've got in the decision process. Most of our decisions are hours. Frequently I'll get one that's down in the minutes. Ones that we do in seconds, I have to know instantly and tell the guy what I want done.
July 20th, 1969, moon landing. As the world watched, Houston waited for the call. What was the feeling like in this room?
That moment, that time in history, we knew that we had 2 minutes, 120 seconds of fuel in that tank at a 30% moderate throttle setting. So I had one controller in this room who had a stopwatch. He was counting out seconds of fuel remaining. Now, at the time he's doing this, the crew is trying to go around and find their landing site.